Hello, my name is Ryan Schaub, and I work with the Frontier Extension District. Today I'd like to talk about the pest of 2019, bagworms. In 2019, we've seen bagworms not only on cedars and other junipers, which we typically expect to have bagworm problems, but we also seen them on some of our shade trees, such as maples and oaks, and even on some fruit trees and cherries and apples. And I actually seen them so bad on the cherry and apples that they stripped every leaf off of those trees. Now, the benefit that those shade trees or fruit trees might have over our cedar windbreaks is going to be that they can put out new leaves very quickly. So that they might get attacked, might get stripped, but they can send out new leaves within a week or two in most cases. Our cedar trees are just so slow growing that once they get attacked, they get stressed, and they just can't kick out new foliage that way. Before we can talk about controlling bagworms, we need to talk about the life cycle of bagworms. So bagworms will overwinter in the bags that will hang off the trees, and just to scare you a little bit, there can be up to 1,000 eggs in each bag that you find hanging off that tree. So they'll overwinter in them bags. We'll get into the middle of May and they will begin to hatch. And they'll immediately go to feeding on some kind of foliage. And whatever foliage they're going to eat on, they will actually wrap themselves in that foliage or create their own bag, and they'll use that as a hiding mechanism. That way, when you go out and scout, they don't just stand out. And they'll continue to hatch until, let's just say, the beginning of June. And then they'll do all of their feeding till about the end part of July, maybe beginning of August. And at that point, no feeding's done. They'll start to pupate, and then after a couple of weeks, they'll start their reproduction process. And then the cycle will just start back over. So let's talk a little bit about control. There are a few natural predators out there. Really, I can't count on those natural predators to keep the population of bagworms down so where we don't see damage to any of our cedar windbreaks. So if we're not going to count on them, can we hand harvest them? I often get asked that question, and the answer is yes. But if we've got a large windbreak or mature trees where we can't get to the top, it's going to be very difficult to do and often impractical. Because again, you got to get every single bag off of those trees. So that often leads us to an insecticide. And there's a long list of insecticides that you can use to control bagworms. If you want more information on that, you can see some of our other links that we have to this video. But the thing with using an insecticide, we can't just take like a little pump up sprayer and kind of wave it around out here. We've got to have a sprayer that's going to, one, cover from the ground all the way to the top of each cedar tree, and we got to have something with enough power that it's going to blow it through this dense foliage all the way back in to the trunk. And it's got to kick out enough water to really get this foliage wet. This isn't a contact killer. These are insecticides that have to be ingested to do the job. So, if you've had bagworm problems the year before, I would often recommend that you spray multiple times. Generally, I'd just say twice. So I'd spray sometime in the end of May to get that first kind of wave or hatch of bagworms, and then I'd come back 3 weeks later or so the middle of June, and I would spray again to get that second hatch. If we just wait until the middle of June to spray, those early bagworms could be doing some damage to those trees and setting those cedars back. So we want to get out there as quick as possible. If you guys have more questions or want to talk to me on the phone, you can always call the number at the end of this video. My email is also there, but I've also attached 2 different publications to this video that would talk a little bit more about bagworms. Thank you very much.